One thing that I'm working on is being less nervous. So the night before, just the weeks before, I want to start just preparing and doing my presentation over and over, just so I can get that in my head and not have to worry about having any issues with like speaking. Because that's the biggest thing, right? With a presentation, your slides could fail, your computer could die, but as long as you're up there presenting, that's the most important thing to your panel.
So our portfolio defense process is for 8th graders, and at the end of their 8th grade year, we ask them to reflect on their understanding of our 5 sustainability skills: communicating powerfully, collaborating productively, managing effectively, thinking systemically, and reasoning analytically. And those collectively are our learner profile. We refer to them as our sustainability skills because our vision that SEEQers will be stewards of planet Earth and healthy, effective citizens of the world. We, as a faculty in our first year, identified that in order to be that, you need these 5 sustainability skills. And so we have in our 8th grade portfolio defense process, we have students reflect on how they've learned and grown in those sustainability skills through their time at SEEQS, and they have to provide evidence with an exemplar of project that they've done during their time at SEEQS.
That I think represents communicating positively very well was my T2S reciprocity identity public service announcement when I was in the 7th grade. For this project, we were prompted to make a PSA or public service announcement about a topic we were passionate about. And I chose to make a short stop motion film on the effects of discrimination and bullying.
So Evelyn, what are you doing right now?
I'm storyboarding for my short film I'm gonna make for EQS.
Okay, and can you tell me a little bit about what you're thinking about right now on it?
Right now I'm thinking about making a film just about just following a character through his day, and it's gonna be about his 16th birthday, and instead of getting a car, he got a bike. And some of my themes are about sustainable transportation and community involvement, and how he's just trying to make a change and positive change, and not just huge change like legal change, just every day. And I think this will cater towards middle school students because it can show just what they can do that's easy and effective.
In all of their classes through all of the years, every time they complete a project, teachers have them complete a sustainability skills reflection. So they reflect on that project relative to one or more of the sustainability skills. So, a math project, they might reflect on how they had to reason analytically, and they have that documented and they keep it in their portfolio of materials. They, in their student-led conferences in 1st and 3rd quarters of each year, they share some of those materials with their parents. So in all of their classes, including EQS and their content courses, they're reflecting through the years and collecting artifacts and evidence. So the 2nd semester of their 8th grade year, we have a portfolio defense elective. But that 8th grade defense elective is where we guide them through the process of pulling exemplary portfolio items from through the years that best reflect their growth in or understanding of the sustainability skills.
They have their exemplars, and then their portfolio is those 5 reflections, very polished, curated with photos on a website.
We're making a little 8th grade defense website where we write about all the sustainability skills and also have a little about me page where we write about ourselves. So recently ours all just got graded and I was able to pass, luckily, which made me pretty happy. So right now I'm working on the script and actual presentation.
After they pass the portfolio process, then they prepare a defense, a 10 to 15 minute oral presentation in front of a panel of community members, which include teachers, a 7th grade student, and at least one community member that they don't know at all, that are assessing them on their reflection, the quality of their reflection, the quality of the evidence they provide, and then of course their presentation skills and their portfolio quality as well.
The students are starting that now at the beginning of quarter 4, and they just have constant work time and small group practice, chances to practice with their peers And then we will also incorporate practice into the advisory structure we have at SEEQS, because our advisories are little families that support each other. So we will take some advisory moments to have the 8th graders, because each advisory is made up of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So the 8th graders will present either part of their presentation or the whole thing, or a couple times along the way, however much they have done, to their advisory. And those students will practice hearing what it sounds like, because they'll be in 8th grade soon, and they'll give feedback. And it's a really supportive process with advisors and advisees. You kind of like all wrap around your 8th graders. So there's a couple ways to practice it. And students are also encouraged to have a mentor, which is like an adult that they trust in their life who might not be a parent, who ideally isn't a parent, so they don't have that dynamic. So if students did pick a mentor, they will ideally practice with their mentor, and the mentor can give them feedback as an adult in the world who's watched presentations before.
I feel very prepared just because I've been here for 3 years and I kind of know how it's gonna go. I've seen a few of them in action, and I've seen kind of what the panelists want to hear and things like that, and I kind of know what I'm going to say, and I have had a lot of experience with presenting since I've gone to SEEQS, and I feel very prepared and I feel very ready for it. So right now I'm working on making my visual for my portfolio defense. You have a lot of creative control with this, but I'm doing slides just because it's easy for me to control, and I like the planned out aspect of it and how I can just control all the time. And so I'm doing mostly just things people can look at, and then I will be talking about like the more detailed parts of it.
Defense presentation consists of 2 of the reflections they wrote, but they get a chance to talk about them a bit more dynamically, and summarize them in the way they want, show more pictures, and talk about what they learned from those 2 projects. And then they also get to talk about in their presentation their journey through SEEQS. Even if they're new this year, like how have they changed from the beginning of their time here to now this like graduating moment, and their journey as a steward of planet Earth and a healthy, effective citizen of the world, which is SEEQS' mission. So they put all that together during this defense process.
So there's About Me section, which you talk about for I think 2 minutes or so, and then the rest of the time is dedicated towards your sustainability skills, and you choose 2, and then you talk about what that is and how you define that, and just examples and such, and then you talk about your exemplar. And so for each one we did reflections, and you choose a project that you think connects to it, and you wrote an essay and you added the portfolio, and now we're presenting it to your audience and to the panel. One of mine I'm doing is managing effectively, and I wrote that about the mural that I painted and about how I had to manage my time. And then the other sustainability skill I reflected on is communicating powerfully, and I wrote that about an art piece I made for one of my art classes and about how that communicates messages and emotions.
How might you apply these skills in your next school setting?
So I think a sustainability skill that is going to be huge for my next school setting is managing effectively. As I mentioned in my defense, I am not so great at time management.
Even if they can't talk about a project super well, sometimes it's clear like you might be pigeonholed, and so you chose this project, it maybe wasn't the best project for you to talk about, but then through the question and answer session we can also ask them like, hey, I know you play chess, can you talk about thinking systemically as a chess player? And then they'll light up and be like, oh my god, that's right. Well, in chess, like it's so they can build in their own interests and they can talk about stuff outside of school. The question and answer session is not meant to be a gotcha. We tell that all the time. This is not meant to be like we're trying to stump you. It's meant for us to just pull out parts of your presentation that maybe we want to hear more about. Counterexamples are the most interesting, fun way to hear about students' deeper learning, because they just admit to what went wrong and what could have gone better.
A counterexample of how I managed effectively in this project is when I got off task some days because I was in a group with people I was really good friends with, and some days we talk and not complete the project or a goal in the amount that we wanted to, and we had to cram the next day.
Because students can talk about the beginning and the end of their presentation is like, just how have you grown as a learner here, and how have you become that steward of planet Earth or healthy, effective citizen of the world.
One thing before SEEQS is I was a really kind of like antisocial person. So I didn't talk with people much, and I didn't interact with them, and I kind of just didn't think about them much. But over my time at SEEQS, I started talking with people more and like learning about who they are, and that really honestly has made me like care about them.
The growth mindset is a huge part of what we do at SEEQS, and because we want to instill in the students, like, failure has to happen. Like, the best stuff is when you make a mistake and you're like, oh, that's why. I always tell my students, like, if you find a careless error, that's exciting because you're less likely to make it again, especially if you know why it was careless. And it's a chance to like figure out what's going on with your learning. The main thing that it provides is a chance for student agency and ownership. They get the chance to use that space and time to deliver whatever message about their learning they feel is most important. So it's a really student-led process, which also comes with a lot of responsibility. And I know it's like fear and stress, but at the end of the day, like, they have put together a presentation that is about them and their learning.
The process of reflection that gives you the ownership of what you know and what you're able to do. Otherwise, you're doing something for someone else, and that's, a grade that a teacher's going to give me. No, reflection is about what I know and what I value.
It's so personalized. It's so cool to watch, and because everyone really is very different, and the students can't help but bring themselves into the process, like bring their personalities and their things that they love into it. And so it's a really authentic form of assessment and an authentic celebration of their learning.
The skill I had the most problems with was collaborating productively. In sixth grade, I had a very big issue with this because I was online the entire year because I was doing a lockdown. At the time, I was super against working with people I didn't really know because I was just a nervous person, more or less, back then. And to combat this in the future, I think I've made a lot of progress in this skill. But the main thing I really want to do is to be more open to conversations with other people in my classes, especially in high school.
You get it straight from the student. Like, they get to say what they've learned rather than just saying, oh, your test grades are kind of bad. You kind of try to prove what you've learned rather than just having a grade. You try to tell them, this is what I've learned, this is what I've done, and this is how I've improved in my time.